Welcome back to the Deep Dive. You're here because you want to get straight to the heart of the matter. And today, the stakes couldn't be sharper. We are cutting through all the noise on a really pivotal FA Cup third-round knockout match, Manchester United versus Brighton and Hove Albion. And this isn't just another game. Our mission today is to, really distill the expert analysis, the tactics, the team news, the predictions, to give you a complete picture of how this season-defining match is expected to play out.
And that phrase, season-defining, that's exactly right, especially from the Manchester United perspective. We're talking about a knockout game at Old Trafford. And look, they're already out of Europe. They're out of the League Cup. The FA Cup is, well, it's arguably their only realistic shot at a trophy this season. The pressure is just immense. It really is win or bust.
And you talk about pressure. It's not just on the club, it's personal. Because this is all happening under a new temporary regime. Darren Fletcher is his interim manager after Ruben Amorim was sacked. So for him, this isn't some distraction. This is his immediate focus. This is his acid test.
It really is. It creates a fascinating dynamic.
Yeah.
You have one team playing with, let's be honest, desperation, and a manager who's fighting for his future against a team in Brighton that travels with absolutely zero fear.
Okay, let's start there then. The overall feel of the fixture. What are the betting previews and the models saying? Because they're not calling this a straightforward home win.
Not at all. The consensus is that this is going to be incredibly competitive, really tight. We could be looking at extra time, maybe even penalties to separate them.
And that's all rooted in the recent history between these two.
Exactly. That's the key thing here. Brighton have consistently caused United problems, especially over the last few seasons. You look at the recent league games, they've picked up big wins at Old Trafford. They know they can hurt United, so they're not just going to sit back and defend.
And on top of that history, you've got United's current form, which has been, well, all over the place. A few frustrating draws, and they're conceding a lot of goals.
A lot of goals.
Yeah.
And the models are picking up on that. They see a lack of clean sheets, a lack of that killer instinct, and that's why, the data points towards a draw after 90 minutes being a very real possibility.
Brighton's entire structure is built to frustrate teams like that.
It is. It's a mental test for United as much as a physical one.
Right. Let's zoom in on the players then. The personnel is so crucial in a one-off cup tie. Who's in, who's out?
Well, the availability is a huge factor for both sides, really. For Manchester United, there is some good news. You've got guys like Harry Maguire, Bruno Fernandes, Mason Mount, Kobbie Mainoo. They're all recently back. And that's a massive boost.
But there's a catch there, isn't there?
Yeah.
Are they all ready for a full-on high-intensity 90 minutes?
That's the thing. Probably not. Someone like Maguire, for instance, even if he starts, they'll have to manage his minutes carefully. And then the big one for both teams is AFCON, the African Cup of Nations. That's hitting United's depth hard. Plus, they've still got key injuries, like to Matthijs de Ligt at the back.
So with all those issues, what's the predicted lineup looking like for Fletcher's 4-2-3-1?
The thinking is he'll go with a mix of experience and youth. So, probably Baindier in goal.
Wait, hold on. Baindier in goal for this game? In a season-defining knockout tie? That feels like a huge variable to throw in there.
It's a huge risk, yeah. But it just speaks to the constraints he's under. If the number one keeper isn't 100%, this is a risk he might have to take.
Wow. Okay, so Baindier. What about the rest?
A back four of de Ligt, then probably Maguire or maybe the young lad Yoro alongside Shaw. In midfield, the pivot is Mainoo and Ugarte. Then an attacking three of Kuna, Fernandes, and Dorgu, all playing behind the main striker, Sesko.
And Sesko up top. That tells you a lot about the game plan, right? It's about pace and getting in behind, not a traditional number 9.
That's exactly it. Sesko offers that movement. And look, they are creating chances. They had over 30 shots in their last game. The problem isn't creation, it's conversion. And more importantly, it's what happens when they lose the ball. That Mainoo Ugarte pivot has to work so hard, and if they're bypassed, Brighton will be in.
Okay, so let's flip to Brighton then. They come in organized, confident, but with their own personnel issues.
Absolutely. They're missing key players like Solly March and Adam Webster, and they've got AFCON absences too, like Carlos Baleba. But, and this is a big but, their main attacking threats are fit. I'm talking about Mitoma and, of course, the ex-United striker Danny Welbeck.
Oh, Welbeck. He always seems to have a point to prove when he comes back to Old Trafford.
Always. And he's so dangerous.
So what's their expected lineup?
They're a bit more settled. You'd expect Steele in goal. A back four of Veltman, Dunk, Pascali, and De Kuyper. The midfield is key for them. The two veterans, James Milner and Pascal Gross. Incredibly hardworking. And then up top, you'll have Mitoma, Gomez, and Watson supporting Welbeck. Their whole style is just discipline, pressing, and lethal transitions.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting for me. The specific tactical battles, the chess match on the pitch.
And battle number one, it has to be in the middle of the park. The engine room, midfield control. United relies so heavily on Mainoo and Fernandes to link everything together. They need time and space on the ball.
But Brighton just don't give you that space, do they? They're so compact.
That's their whole game plan. They counter with this super compact shape, anchored by Milner and Gross, and it's all designed to just stifle you, to cut off those passing lanes. If Mainoo and Fernandes can't turn and face forward, United's whole attack just grinds to a halt.
So let's move to battle two, stretching that United backline.
This is where Brighton can really win the game. The sources are all pointing to one specific threat. Mitoma, out on the left wing, running directly at United's right back, Dalot. Mitoma's pace, his low center of gravity. If Dalot pushes too high up the pitch, he will get exposed. And if United's defense has to keep shifting over to cover him, that creates space in the middle for Welbeck.
So what does that mean for someone like Mainoo or Ugarte? Do they have to, curb their own attacking instincts just to make sure they're providing cover on that side?
That's the tactical dilemma for Fletcher. It's the tightrope he has to walk. Commit too many players to stopping Mitoma, and you blunt your own attack, don't commit enough, and you invite disaster. It's a huge test of defensive discipline, which, frankly, United have lacked.
And that flows right into the third big battle, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Wide play and transitions. United want their fullbacks, Dalot and Shaw, to bomb forward.
And that's the trap Brighton wants them to fall into. They are brilliant at soaking up that pressure, waiting for the moment they win the ball back, and then bang, they launch a devastating counter. If Shaw or Dalot are caught high up the pitch, United's central defenders are left completely exposed to the pace of Mitoma and the movement of Welbeck.
So it really feels like this is going to be decided by, these sudden moments, these transitions, rather than one team just dominating possession.
Exactly. And you have to add in the extra layer of cup football dynamics. In games this tight, it so often comes down to a set piece, a corner, a free kick. Both teams will be desperate for those opportunities because that might be the only way to break the deadlock. Watch for Dunk for Brighton and Maguire or Euro for United to be huge threats in the box.
Okay, so let's get to the bottom line. After all this tactical analysis, the team news. What happens? Who actually wins this thing?
Well, there is absolutely no consensus for an easy United victory. None at all. Across all the models, all the previews, we're seeing projections for incredibly tight scorelines. Narrow wins for either side, or draws that go the distance.
What's the most common prediction then?
The most frequent outcome from the quantitative models is, well, a very cagey 1-1 draw.
A 1-1.
A 1-1 draw leading to extra time, and then, and this is the critical part, the models slightly favor United to win it on penalties.
A 1-1 feels, a bit safe, doesn't it? Does a model like that really factor in the sheer pressure of a knockout game at Old Trafford?
Yeah.
The kind of pressure that leads to a big mistake.
That's a really fair challenge, and it's why other analysts, the ones focusing more on the tactical side, offer alternatives.
Such as
an outright Brighton win. A lot of the tactical previews actually favor Brighton to win it, maybe 2-1. Yeah, they believe Brighton's organization and counter-attacking threat will eventually just be too much for United's defensive frailties. And then there's another school of thought that says it'll be an over 2.5 goals game, that the pace will be so high and both defenses are vulnerable enough that it just becomes this wild end-to-end match.
So it's a real spectrum of possibilities. The betting markets have United as slight favorites, I suppose, because of the home advantage, but Brighton are clearly well respected.
Look, if we have to boil it all down for you, the bottom line is this. This is going to be a stressful, tight, tactical battle. It's not going to be a walkover. The things you need to watch for are, 1, are United defending better on the counter? They just have to. 2, can they handle Brighton's confidence and organization, especially Mitoma on that break? At the end of the day, it'll probably come down to that midfield battle, Mainoo and Fernandes against Milner and Gross, and just sheer defensive resilience. This match has all the signs of one that goes the full distance.
And that brings us right back to where we started, doesn't it? The pressure on the manager. I mean, given United's recent draws, given Brighton's record at Old Trafford, what is the level of pressure on Darren Fletcher if this game actually goes to a penalty shootout? A scenario the models are openly suggesting. That one moment, that coin flip, his entire tenure, and maybe United's whole season, could be defined right there. Something to think about as we wait for Sunday. We'll see you next time for the Deep Dive.